Welcome everyone, I'm Prescott City Councilman Steve Sischka, and this is Prescott Today. In this episode, I get to wear my National Lampoon Christmas vacation socks because we're talking about the holidays, and my first guest is Sherry Heine, and she's the president and CEO of the Prescott Chamber of Commerce. Welcome, Sherry.
It's great to be here.
And welcome to the area. You're just recent arrivals.
We are. Yeah, we moved here. Well, I started my job January 3rd.
Wow.
Yeah.
And so, were you able to get in on last year's Christmas excitement?
Well, we were traveling here during the holiday season, and we were able to see the courthouse lighting. We didn't see the actual presentation, but we were able to see the lights and just really enjoy the downtown area during that time period.
Wow, that's awesome. You know, it's such a special time of the year, isn't it?
Oh, it certainly is.
And so, tell me about what your first impression of the holidays in Prescott. What was it?
Well, my first impression is when you are coming down Gurley Street, right down the hill, and you see the lights and, you know, you see the elk on top of the building, and then you're just coming right down, and then you turn to the left, and there are all the lights. And it is a gorgeous
And isn't
feeling.
that incredible? And could you imagine if you're a tourist or if you're somebody who's thinking about moving to Prescott, what that all looks like?
Well, in our case, we saw a little bit of snow.
Yes, you did.
Yeah, and, you know, it's hard to think that there's snow in Arizona.
Well, we only have cactus here.
Well, there you go. Well, from some of us that have just moved here from outside of the state, it felt like home. You know, that's what you think
well,
of
we
the
are
holidays.
everybody's hometown.
That is correct.
So tell me about the Chamber's role in the courthouse lighting.
We help fundraise for this program. That's our main role. But also we're helping market it and promote the program as well. And we get everybody involved in holiday spirit.
Well, I'll tell you what, it's really hard to believe that people have to get up for the holiday spirit in Prescott, Arizona. But you know, what you do is enhance that holiday experience, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And so how do you work with the PDP and with the city of Prescott to make this all happen?
Well, lots of meetings, first of all. But more importantly, it's about keeping the tradition, keeping that spirit. And for us, it's very important to make sure that it is that family tradition. And bringing folks downtown and bringing family downtown and bringing tourists downtown.
Well, you know, Prescott is all about family.
It is.
That's one of the things that I've noticed when people come here and you meet them on the street and they look confused and you want to point the way to the Chamber of Commerce, all the information's right over there.
You betcha.
But when they come, they just say, I can't believe how friendly people are. I can't believe how family-oriented this whole place is. I want some of that. So tell us about all the chamber events that are going on during the holiday season, because people are going to really want to have the whole experience.
Absolutely. Well, one thing that we're starting new this year is the Grand Marshal Gala. And it's to celebrate the Grand Marshal that's selected for the Christmas parade.
Okay.
The parade is actually the same day as the courthouse lighting when we first light it up. So it's a full day of Christmas festivities. But the gala is going to be that Thursday before that Saturday. So November 30th from 6 to 9 is the gala.
And the gala is new.
It's brand new, bringing it here to celebrate all the folks that sponsor and support the courthouse lighting and the parade and all the festivities, and also to celebrate the Grand Marshal.
So, don't keep us waiting. Who is the Grand Marshal?
I thought you'd never ask. Tommy Meredith is
All
our
right.
Grand Marshal for 2017. Well-deserved. He's been in the community for many years. He is actually instrumental in raising funds for the courthouse lighting.
Very much instrumental. And, of course, your theme this year follows right along with Tommy because he's always wearing his cowboy hat.
You betcha.
And what is your theme?
The theme for the parade is a cowboy Christmas,
Okay.
which is quite appropriate, especially with Tommy being the Grand Marshal. We're very excited about that.
So why was Tommy selected?
Well, I think what you do in these cases is you look at someone who's been involved in the community and has made a difference, and that's Tommy Meredith. He recently sold the Jersey Lily.
Yes.
Which
is
that's
right
sad.
right above the courthouse
yeah.
on the west side.
Yep. And, you know, he's just been involved with the community for a long time, and he was dared to help us with the fundraising about 10 years ago. You may remember that.
Oh, I remember that well. There was a big dark spot down below Jersey Lily, and people kept giving him a hard time about it. So he says, well, I'm going to challenge the city of Prescott to a fundraising situation. And last year, I think 2 years ago, they actually beat the city's contribution.
Yeah, yeah. They do that every year. For 10 years, they've been doing that. And I've been working with the Friends of the Jersey Lily this year. And they are just, what is so exciting about them is they're just regular folks that are just, they want to see the lights be successful. They're retired. They're involved in just wanting those lights to be on for everybody.
So can anybody go to the Grand Marshal Banquet or
Yes.
the gala?
Yeah, they have to make the reservations, so they want to
With
go to
who?
With the Prescott Chamber.
Okay.
Yep. So you want to make sure that they do that because it will sell out.
Yes.
Yeah, we're expecting about 250 to attend, and that will fill up the Plaza View Ballroom, which is where it will be located from 6 to 9
Wow,
on
that
November
would be
30th.
special.
Yeah, it's
Very
gonna be
special.
Awesome. A new tradition for the area.
Well, so what's new with the parade this year? Anything new?
Well, we always have a few surprises. What I'm excited about this year is that the parade starts at 1 o'clock on Saturday, December 2nd.
Traditionally, yeah.
Yep. And after the parade is where all the new stuff begins. We're going to keep Santa in town. So he's going to be taking requests from all the children, and we're going to play some music too. So that while folks are waiting for the courthouse lighting to start, we will have entertainment, and we'll have Santa on hand.
So Santa's going to leave the sleigh, leave Rudolph and the gang,
Yeah.
and basically get out on the courthouse plaza and be right there to take requests
You
from
betcha.
all sorts of little munchkins?
You betcha. Yep.
Awesome.
Yeah. And then we'll also have music playing during that time. Our goal is to have all the high school bands that have been playing in the parade to come out on Gurley Street and play for everyone as well.
Wow, that's really special. So let me ask you something. You just started an effort called Shop Prescott.
You
or
bet. Yeah.
Prescott. So it's Shop Prescott.
Start
Shop
here.
Us, start here.
Yes.
Yes.
Shop Prescott, start here.
That's a mouthful.
Yeah.
But tell us how that fits into what the chamber is doing for the holiday season.
Well, we want to inspire folks to shop locally. I think it's important for all of us to support brick and mortar businesses. And it's not just about downtown, it's about border to border, Prescott. And it's important that we do that so that we can keep the economics here in the Prescott area.
And the courthouse lighting and all the events that you have going on, they're huge drivers.
They are, yeah. They bring families downtown again, like we talked
Yes.
about. And they also bring tourism. They bring folks in from all over the state. And why not shop Prescott and start here? It's a great way to
It certainly
really get
makes
started.
sense to me.
You betcha.
I think that the Chamber of Commerce and the PDP and the city of Prescott all want that kind of success.
Absolutely. And we want our businesses to be successful. And the only way to do that is for you and I to shop locally.
So let's kind of wrap things up. First Saturday in December.
That's right.
What's happening?
December 2nd, we're going to have the Christmas parade starting at 1 o'clock. And then at 6 o'clock, we'll start the courthouse lighting ceremony. And we'll have those traditions going on. And then in between there, we're really asking folks to shop Prescott and start here. So start your holiday shopping during that time.
That's a great idea.
Yeah, and just be family and enjoy Prescott.
Family, enjoy Prescott.
Yep.
That sounds like a great way to
You bet.
segue out of this segment. And Sherry, it's been a real pleasure having you.
Well, thank you for having me.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
My next guest is Kendall Jaspers, and he is the director of the Prescott Downtown Partnership, or PDP. Hey, Kendall.
Hey, Steve.
How are you?
Back in the Christmas mood.
Attaboy.
You bet.
So you were telling me earlier that you've been here since 1960.
Pretty much. I moved here as a 10-year-old. Now everybody knows how old I am.
Just a little
And,
whippersnapper.
yeah, whippersnapper. I mean, I lived here on and off for a while.
Uh-huh.
You know, when I got out of school, high school here, there wasn't a lot to do. But you know, Prescott has really provided a lot of opportunity. It was great to come
Isn't
back,
that for sure?
and it was when it was time to put my kids in school and raise a family. This was the place. So,
Well,
been here for about 30 years since.
so you've seen a lot of courthouse lightings.
Yes, I have. I even got to sing on the steps when I was a kid.
So tell me about the singing on the steps, because my wife Kathy, who's a native of Prescott,
Mm-hmm.
talks about the first time she ever thought about the courthouse lighting was when they said, if you're singing in the choir, you have to go sing on the courthouse steps for the courthouse lighting.
Well, they used to actually walk us over from Lincoln School to practice one time. And that was the big deal. You got out of some school. and then the actual night of it, I'm trying to think what grades it was. I think it was pretty much fifth and sixth grade or something like that. Got to go over and sing the carols that we practiced.
And since then, your voice has changed?
Yeah, somewhat, yeah. And I didn't get any better looking either. You know, so, but it was a big deal. It was fun. And,
That's neat. You know, that's the whole thing. And that's what I was talking about with Sherry, was it's just fun and it's family, isn't it?
It is, and it pulls people from every demographic in town. I mean, young, old, families, single people. I mean, it's amazing what a magnet that is.
And it
for
started
downtown.
out years ago as just a local event.
Oh, it was pretty thin. You didn't see a lot of out of state plates or even
So
out of town
this
plates.
behind us wasn't always this way.
No, it was a lot sparser. Let's put it that way. But you know, it was fine. I mean, everybody was happy to see it. It was mostly up-looking spotlights that colored the building, and then there were just a few decorations on the building. And I don't even know if we even lit a tree. I'm not sure. I don't remember that. But
Okay.
but it was mostly people getting together and singing
And
the
that's what
Christmas
it's
carols
all
with the
about,
kids.
isn't
And
it?
yeah, it was a pretty simple
And
simple thing.
we are everybody's hometown. So since then, we've invited a whole bunch of people to this thing, haven't we?
It's yes, and they've accepted our invitation.
Yes, they
Yeah,
have.
it's,
thousands and thousands of people have accepted our invitation. So what's PDP, Prescott Downtown Partnership's role in the courthouse lighting, and how did you guys get involved?
I think we lost a bet. I'm not sure. We've been at it since I think 1999, somewhere in there. The Prescott Downtown Partnership has been working with the courthouse
Okay.
lighting 99 or 2000, somewhere in there. And we're the guys on the ground.
Yeah.
We maintain ornaments. We see that they go up. We supervise contracts, repair, replace, beg, but see that the whole thing happens. There's a lot of moving parts. We have a couple of different businesses that we contract with to do work. Things changed a lot when the Yavapai County courts felt like there were some issues with legal precedent that we couldn't work during the day on weekdays. And when that happened, that changed that whole lighting. There was a lot of volunteers that used to come in and do things.
Sure.
But trying to get them to work nights and weekends is a little different story. So we ended up with using contractors for some of it, and they do work nights and weekends. And we still actually work around the courts. They actually have a 7-day-a-week, 365-day court at the courthouse, from at least arraignment court on weekends.
Wow.
So it's a little tricky, but it's been interesting for me. I got involved as a volunteer and with helping get the lighting going, and then when I became the executive director, I'm up to my neck in it. We started early. I mean, we started wrapping trees the 1st of October, and there's been something going on almost all the time.
So let's talk
Lead
about
man.
the wrapping of the trees.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it didn't used to be, like you said, it didn't used to be that way. It was kind of sparse.
Oh yeah.
And so what really kicked us over the edge? Was it 1989 and Rose Moffett?
Well, I think that was part of it, but I also think there was it just kind of got going. There were some people who did some really nice things for us. Back when I was on the chamber board, that was shortly after the Baghdad mine had helped finance those candles that go on the side of the buildings, and there's actually copper in those that came from the mine, smelted right from the Baghdad mine. But they were the folks who made those happen. And then the cable company decided they would help us find some decorations to put on the lamp poles that come into town. That started with, I think, about 25, and now there's 80 or 90 of them, something like that we put up on 2 different streets. Lighting, the big thing with, just slap me when you want to say something, and I'll stop. But
I do want to say something. What about the Christmas City designation? How important has that been to downtown Prescott?
Well, I think that's huge. I think it brands us. I think it's become wide enough known that everybody just, they have high expectations, but they know that there's something special in Prescott going on for Christmas. And it put a little pressure on us to actually expand our events some. We have some different things going on now. We do the light parade every year. That's a Prescott Downtown Partnership policy.
And when is the light parade?
Light parade this year will be the 25th of November. That's the Saturday after Thanksgiving.
Okay.
That's a fun one because it's pretty local. We'll get 4,000 or 5,000 people out, and you'll see people It's fun. Then we have...
and how many floats do you have on that?
It's 35, 40, something like that. And it's a little bit weather sensitive. Some people are kind of wussy, when it gets to rain and at night, in December, it's getting to be a little chilly. But no, we have some really nice people who come every year, and it's fun. It's a fun parade.
Well, the nice thing about it being chilly on that night is that after the light parade, it drives everybody into the businesses.
Yes, and that's, of course, that's what we want. We want to get people, especially get our out-of-towners, come in and spend some money. And then to do that, we have a new thing that we tacked on a few years ago to the parade where instead of the parade just dispersing, we run that parade backwards so it ends at the middle school. Okay. Drives the city street guys a little crazy, but but we run it backwards, and then the floats pull into the Mile High Middle School field. They go around the field and they park. Okay. And then the fire department helps us, and we have a bonfire, and we have carols and some fun stuff for kids. Santa's there in their float. Okay. And
now, what are reindeer races?
Oh, that's one of your predecessors' ideas. That was Chris Kuknio's idea. Back in the old days, there used to be a lot of ground decorations on the courthouse square where they were put up on the ground, and we don't do that anymore because the risk management got involved. But so we had these reindeer, pretty good-sized reindeer, and the kids, when they were displayed in the courthouse, they had sequenced lights. So one reindeer would light up, and then the next one, and the next one. And people used to rearrange them, and then the kids would race alongside the reindeer to see if they could keep up with how fast the lights were changing.
So are you going to have reindeer races over at Mile High Middle School
yes,
football field?
Yes, we've recreated those. So we have, I think we have about 8 of them to get in line. It's about, I don't know, maybe 50 feet. And we set it up so the kids can race the reindeer.
So we could very easily be the rodeo city. And we have a great rodeo, but we're not the rodeo city. We could easily be the tractor pull city in some people's minds, but we don't do that either. But we are Arizona's Christmas city.
Absolutely. And it's partly because the spirit of all the people that are willing to help out and do things, and we have a lot of kind, generous people in this town. People who are willing to get involved. It's the spirit of volunteerism and just walking in a store and looking for directions and finding somebody who will help you and walk out with you and make sure you're going the right direction. And those are the kinds of things that really, that's kind of what Christmas is about, taking a little extra step towards folks with kindness and cheer.
There aren't many Scrooges around here, are there?
No, there's a couple, but no, not many. No, this is a good-hearted town. Always has been.
So tell us about PDP's participation in Shop Prescott Start Here.
Well, I think I might have lost a bet there, but anyway, we're working with that with the chamber. We're especially assisting on some of the things that we're trying to do downtown. As far as distributing information, there's some things we can help with signage, but generally speaking, just getting people used to the idea that if they could spend some portion of their money in Prescott that they don't spend now, that money circulates so
it does 7 times.
7 times. And our brick and mortar businesses are kind of under siege right now from the internet, and that would make a huge difference to them, but it also make a huge difference to all of us. I mean, we talked about this one time. If we could get the internet portion, if we could get 3% of what people in Prescott spend at the internet, it would make significant sales tax collection differences to the city. And that's what supports our parks and our trails and our, we wouldn't have all the amenities.
Fire.
Yeah, and we have world-class services in this town.
Absolutely.
And it's because we capture sales tax, and if we can move that along, there'll be better things.
And we have a great Chamber of Commerce. We have a great Prescott Downtown Partnership. The city of Prescott loves working with you two organizations. And, I just think that we're not just family out on the street, but we are a family within the workings of the city.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I find that working with the city and the nonprofits and the chamber and whoever else, I mean, there's everybody seems to find a way to work together. Not only that, they bring different things to the table. You learn stuff. You learn to work with each other to make things happen. It's a good situation.
Kendall, thank you very much for being my guest today.
All right, thank you, Steve. Appreciate you having me on.
In this segment, we're at the historic Jersey Lily Bar right across from the courthouse on Whiskey Row, and it's ground zero for the major fundraising effort for the courthouse lighting. Today I have 3 guests. I actually have Kathy Sischka, who was the 1989 Prescott Chamber of Commerce chairman of the Courthouse Lighting Committee, and also my wife, and also a native of Prescott. I have Pete Beland, and Pete lovingly took care of the gazebo and all the mechanical needs of the gazebo starting in 1979 when the junior women took over. And I also have behind me Jersey Lily. We couldn't do this all without Jersey Lily because Jersey is, like I said, ground zero for the fundraising effort, for the ability for us to get all involved in the fundraising effort for the courthouse lighting. So Kathy, welcome. Pete, welcome.
Good morning.
And
Good morning.
Jersey, welcome.
Hey, thanks for having us.
Well, you're welcome. And it's great that you're here. Thank you for taking time out of your day, both of you. And Kathy, there was a monumental event back in 1989 that happened to the courthouse. What was it?
Well, in 1989, Rose Montfort declared, she was governor at the time, and she declared Prescott Arizona's Christmas city. The interesting thing is I just learned this morning, reading some history, that in 1962, Governor Paul Fannin declared Prescott Arizona's Christmas town. So that's a piece of history I didn't remember. But in '89, when that happened, we had media here, we had thousands of people on the courthouse, and it just jump-started everything that's happening today.
And one of the things that really strikes me is that I always thought that because Governor Rose Montfort declared us the Arizona Christmas City, that all of the improvements happened on the courthouse, but that wasn't true, was it?
No, a lot of the improvements happened before that. So that, and when we asked for the designation and started working with the governor's office in order to kind of promote what we'd been doing, the courthouse was looking pretty good. We'd made a lot of changes.
So in 1989, the candles, which I absolutely love, the candles went up, right?
The candles went up.
And can you tell us a little story about that?
Well, prior to having the candles built, we realized we had to do a lot of work on the electrical of the courthouse. We obviously needed to raise quite a bit of money, not near as much as we raised today, but in those days it was about $50,000 bill, as I remember, to redo wiring and buy new fixtures. The fixtures the Junior Women's Club used to haul out of the basement of the old Soltz building, which is
I remember
now
that.
Spice Traveler, I think,
Yeah.
or somewhere over there on Gurley Street. They went on and came off every year, so we had to put on permanent light fixtures and figure out how to do things that fit the fire code.
So-
And then the candles
Yeah.
came about because Cypress Baghdad offered to give us some copper, and we had to figure out what to do with them. So we raised another $12,000, had a design, and A&B Sign designed and built them for us. So,
And you know, if there's one thing that strikes me about the courthouse, it's the candles.
well, you know, I mean, they're a piece of my history, and I love them, so I hope they're always there. I do have to tell you, though, the neon idea was pretty controversial in the day, and we were like, I don't know how that's going to play, but it's worked out well, and they're beautiful.
Well, that's awesome. And Pete, you know, you did a lot of TLC on the gazebo, and you know the gazebo has always meant a lot to the kids of the community.
I think the gazebo is one of the things that they love to see, even though it's one of the hardest things for them to see. Okay? Being
They like to climb up
short
those
in
stairs.
stature, they need to be lifted up and hoisted onto the parents' shoulders so that they can see, and they always love the gazebo because there's so much action, even with the new way it's being run today with many small figurines and different pieces. In this late 70s, when we took over that, it was a merry-go-round, if you will, that went around with Santa Claus right in the middle with all his reindeer out on the edges, and they spun around. And there's been many a night that they didn't spin around.
So, tell me, who was out in the middle of the night fixing it?
Only one guy that they could find out that was stupid enough to do it.
I don't know.
There was
Pretty giving guy.
it was always the coldest night of the year.
Absolutely.
And the wind was always blowing in December around here. If you've lived here very long, you realize that's pretty much true. December is probably our coldest month, but our windiest month of the year also. So you'd crawl beneath that platform, which would be spinning around, and try to figure out what wasn't working on any given night. And because if it wasn't working, Mary Baker at the chamber would get a call. Immediately she'd place the call to me and try to get that up and running. And it never worked flawlessly any season. No matter how much work you put into it, there was always something, because it was mechanical. It wouldn't be built the same way today as it was then with the limited materials that we had.
As I recall, it was pretty heavy, too. It had a plywood platform.
It had
on
plywood
top of it.
platform, and it had metal, and it had basically a bicycle chain that ran all the way around it.
Wow.
So it was probably a 30 or 40-foot chain that ran around that would jump gears and.
Well, the
and-
balance of it was always pretty tricky to keep it from jumping the chain.
Well, yeah.
It
So it was. You prayed every year that it would make it through till the new design. And then the plexiglass that we have up around there to keep everything safe and from getting blown away in the wind and that type of things. None of those, no panel on that gazebo is the same size as another panel. So you have
Oh,
to.
that's right. I remember we had to kind of measure them and try to figure out which one fit
went
where. Yeah.
Because it's all tapped for screws and everything, but we never.
We
even
never
with-
were smart enough to number them.
We numbered them all, and we would number the spot on the gazebo, and every summer the county did their maintenance and painted over our numbers. So we'd have to start from scratch every November. But the biggest thing I remember is the dedication of the Junior Women's Club, not just to the gazebo, but to all the light bulbs on the courthouse. They started every July testing light bulbs to see if they were good for another year.
Like 6,000 light.
Over 6,000 light bulbs. So every day you'd sit and screw in a light bulb and take it out and try another one and keep going till you tested every string of lights.
Wow. Well, you know what? Let's talk about, on the other side of the courthouse, the east side of the courthouse, there are those trees. And Kathy, what do you remember about the trees? I remember going over to A&B Sign and stringing garland and lights.
Oh yeah, I guess Perry and his boys designed them and built the structure for them, but then we had to order the garland and the lights and put it all on there. So we had a lot of work parties with kids and husbands and wives, people that we could pull in. But those trees were made after the Junior Women's Club had given up the courthouse lighting to the chamber. So in those years I was on the chamber board and Mary Baker was the driver. And remember, there were a lot of people that we brought in that weren't a member of anything necessarily. They were just people that were warm bodies.
You mentioned
good fingers.
You mentioned the families that would come in. One of the things that I think interesting is last year my youngest son came to town with his family, and he was proud to point out that he helped put the garland on those trees.
Yeah, I think that's awesome.
It's interesting because I happened to run into Sherry Wayman Hannah.
Okay.
And her dad owned the Western Bar over here on Whiskey Row, and he also was the Arizona Republic reporter for Northern Arizona. And she happened to, when she was a kid in the early 60s, she happened to say that her friend, her best friend, was the son or the daughter of the city engineer. And so every year, families would get out and actually decorate the courthouse. She remembers the fathers getting up on top of the courthouse and stringing lights down.
So that was in the 60s.
That was in the 60s.
So that was prior to when the Junior Women's Club. You know, the amazing thing to me about the courthouse lighting is that it's always been a community effort, and it's evolved and evolved over the years to the point it is today. And it's always somebody who says, hey, I have an idea, I'll raise the money, I'll move forward, and we have what we have. It's phenomenal. I mean, Jersey Lily and Tommy Meredith are the driving force behind all the lights on the trees. So, you know, it's a great thing, and I hope it always continues to be
One of the things I
community.
think is wonderful is with all the LED lights that we didn't have then, they take such little power now to operate that we can put more lights up and use less energy.
So Kathy, what actually drove the improvements to the courthouse before Rose Mofford declared us the Christmas city?
You know, I think besides the fact that the fire marshal told us we had to, I think it was just always a desire of people to make it better and better every year. And the chamber has always been promoting Prescott, and courthouse lighting is a big central part of what we do here. So to promote courthouse lighting, to make some changes to it, to get Rose Mofford involved in the Arizona Christmas City thing, I think it was just, I don't know, people's desire to make their hometown the Christmas city and to do it the best we could.
Well, and you know what's amazing is that if you think about people coming today, they came in the last 2 or 3 or 4 years to Prescott. It hasn't always been the way it is.
Oh no, it was pretty primitive in the day. You know, when my first memory was singing on the steps when I was in the high school choir, and I think kids did that prior to those years, and they continue to do it now.
But it was actually a requirement.
Well,
if
yeah.
you were in the choir, you came and sang on the courthouse plaza.
Right. Those were the days when the school could say you need to be there. But now I think it is volunteer. But gosh, if you come to the lighting ceremony, those steps are full. So kids still want to do that, and they've actually added more entertainment prior to, because there's so many people that come early to get good seats.
Well, and then there's Ken Bennett.
That's right.
And Ken Bennett, the former Secretary of State, former President of the Senate for Arizona, local boy, would read the Christmas story every year, and he has for years and years, for as long as I can remember, read the Christmas story on the courthouse.
Yeah, I'm not sure how he got involved, probably because he was a businessman in Prescott and he became a a politician, and he has a great voice, and so he does a good job, and every year he gets asked back. And it's, I do remember one year, though, that for some reason he couldn't be here, and I think you read The Christmas Story, did you not?
You know, I think I did.
Yeah.
And it was a lot of fun. You know what amazed me about this whole experience was in 1989, when you were chairman of the Courthouse Lighting Committee, I actually got a chance to do a little emceeing up at the top of the courthouse for the lighting. And it was so awesome just to look out and see a sea of people. It was unbelievable, the excitement in the air, the electricity. We had all of the TV stations up here. For as far as you could see in any direction, there was people.
And I think it's been pretty much the same way ever since. You know, that it's a draw to Prescott, and it's something that everybody loves. You know, whether you're into celebrating Christmas, or you just like all the lights, or you're a family that needs something to do together during the holiday season, it's a wonderful event, and I don't know, it's just, it touches my heart to know that people still are doing that kind of thing.
Well, it's Americana, isn't it, Pete?
Yeah, it's Americana, and Kathy made a comment how primitive we used to do things to get the lights to come on. It was one that comes to mind for me, is today we would just simply pick up our cell phone and say, turn them on, and they would come on. Well, when we took it over in the late 70s, there were no cell phones, so we would have people stationed at different points to the master switch, if you will, in the basement of the courthouse, and we would shine our flashlight to the next person and the next person and the next person till the lights would come on. And that's the only way we could get the switch to be thrown. And it was always at the particular part in the Christmas Story that we wanted the lights to come up. And I think it did now and then.
Well, yeah. It was close. It was close. And even now, and in one year, we had some kind of a glitch in that system, and it didn't go on. So, you know, those kind of things happen. It's all
but that's part of it. You know, and everybody understood that we're doing the best we can.
Yeah, I think the trees, though, have really made a huge difference. And I was talking to Sherry Heine just the other day, and you know, one of the things that I do miss is all the color on the courthouse. You know, it's neat to have it all white and the color all around it, but you know, we used to light it up with lots of different color. So the building wasn't white; it was red and green and gold and white and all.
Well, if you remember
so if you look
those
at pictures, in fact, even this one is like, wow, look at all that color we did.
If you remember all those glass lenses, they were actually colored glass lenses that covered the lights to make the different colors. And they were obsolete and nobody used them in the industry anymore. And we couldn't get them anymore. And so that's how come one of the reasons we changed to the white, just simply out of necessity.
It's been great to go back over the years, take a journey back in time, and talk about the fact that the courthouse always wasn't like what it is today.
Oh, no.
And it will continue to evolve, you know, with technology getting so well. You know, these new laser lights that you shine on the buildings, that actually you don't even have any bulbs there. That's something that will probably be incorporated in the next few years. Who knows?
Either that, or maybe we'll put a little music to the lights and have them come on and off to Christmas tunes or something. You know, it is true that technology will take us where we go next.
Well, I want to thank Kathy Sischka, native of Prescott, chairman of the 1989 Courthouse Lighting Committee for the Prescott Chamber of Commerce, and my wife. And I'd also like to thank Pete Beland, who did a lot of TLC on that gazebo in the early years. And thank you both for your memories and your thoughts. And we're all looking forward to the courthouse lightings in the future.
Well, thanks, Steve, for the opportunity. And I got to say thanks for all your support over those years, because there were many a night where you were out there changing light bulbs and testing light bulbs and figuring out whether things were going to go on and off the way they should.
Thanks,
So,
Kathy. I was
you're
there
welcome.
with you.
Yeah,
And just
you
as,
too, Pete.
and a special thanks to all those that shared and worked on it over the years.
Yes.
It's been a community-wide effort, and I think that's also one of the reasons it's so successful. It's just not a few people deciding to do it, but it's Prescott as a whole that would love to continue the tradition for our kids and great-grandkids and stuff in the future.
And now, because it's not an inexpensive thing to do, everybody can contribute by going to Jersey Lily and putting a few dollars on a Christmas bulb.
That's exactly right. Well, thank you both.
Thank you.
Sun bobtails rain.